Hello everyone, my name is Nataša Stuper. I'm the digital content editor for the Museum of Natural History.
And I'm Georgina, Brooke, project lead and digital content manager on this project.
We are going to spend about 4 minutes talking to you about how we planned, designed and built a new website for the Museum of Natural History.
So this is what we started with. Some of you may remember this. So before we started, the Museum of Natural History had been on the same content management system for a very long time. And it was beginning to become apparent that there was a number of problems with the site as it was. It wasn't mobile responsive. We were only able to change it from one person's desktop, which meant if that particular person was on holiday or on leave, it became even more difficult to keep the website up to date. These boxes that you see on the homepage weren't really reflective of the most important user journeys that we wanted to highlight to people. Another thing was that what's on wasn't dynamically generated, so we were frequently in the scenario that past events were present on what's on, or certainly the most upcoming event, if you like, was not top of the list. So when we started on this project, we undertook a large analysis and planning phase. On a qualitative side, we sent out a web survey to our newsletter database and also put it on our website to understand a bit more about how people were using the existing website and also to recruit people for more in-depth interviews. On a quantitative level, we conducted a content audit looking at the Google Analytics data of how people were accessing the site at the moment and tracking things like time on page and bounce rate. We were playing into an existing bit of research that had come out of the Ashmolean project, typifying all of our users on a spectrum of engagement, which meant browsers, followers, searchers and researchers. That meant that as we were gathering insights from all of these research activities, we could start formalising them in a document and start thinking about which navigation sections of the website they corresponded to. And that fed into, much later, a broader navigation specification where we could really precisely pinpoint which user insights corresponded to what page, which was really useful when we started beginning to write web pages. We could think, okay, it needs to meet these user stories to be an effective web page. And we tracked our content development in the project management tool Trello, so myself and Nataša and the rest of the team could keep abreast of how the project was developing and which pages of the site as a whole were developed.
And the results we saw were actually very interesting. As you can see, there is a nice comparison between what we had before and what we have now. The new homepage corresponds with modern browsing habits of long scroll pages, which means that all the pages above the fold could be less boxy and more visual. The new homepage also have a section of events, and they all come up at a glance. It means that we don't have the scenario when events can be out of date. The new events page allows users also to filter by date, which is something that came out from our research. And also, it also allows to filter by different types of events, like family events, late nights, or other special events. We created some very interesting new content across different pages on the museum website, like, for example, to highlight, for example, the most important museum objects, like the things to be promoted, the things to see and do. The collection highlights, which included different visual elements, such as interactive infographics, timelines, audio guides, etc. We also included other multimedia content, for example, videos that can be found across several pages.
And the results were really nice. So we ran a report looking at the first 2 months after go live. The site went live at the end of August, so we compared September and October this year compared to September and October last year. And we can already see a really nice uplift. So 20% increase in users, 25% increase in new users, 8%, well actually 9% reduction in bounce rate. So all of the metrics have gone up, with the exception of pages per session, which has gone down by 16%. But we think that's because people are finding the content they want more readily, particularly as the time on page has gone up. So once they're on the pages, they're spending longer So that's the end of our
presentation.
Thank you very much. I think we've got time for questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's time for questions.